Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday to you, and welcome to Today at the Races, the Sunday edition here at Laurel Park. I'm Dave Rodman alongside Equibase Keith Fustel, also our morning line maker here at Laurel Park. We'll bring you through the Sunday program here at Laurel. Keith's going to be a big day here with 10 exciting races on the program. Lots to recap from yesterday, but a lot of things going on today, too.
Absolutely. Great day today. We've got the brunch, the Sunday brunch, but going back to yesterday, Dave, a really, really nice day of racing. Saw the Virginia Reds back in action, kind of a Colonial North day here at Laurel Park. But some upsets, though, in some of those races.
Yeah, we saw a lot of familiar faces here from down in Virginia with some Virginia Red Stakes mixed in with ours. Special Envoy turning the tables finally there in the Edward Evans against Rosebriar by a nose.
Did not, let up at all. Applied the pressure early and often, kept it on. It looked like Rosebriar might sneak away at the 8th pole. Special Envoy wasn't going to let him get away. Just ground him down the last 50 yards and got up.
Slow pace for Rosebriar, but a relentless Special Envoy. Tried to shift in a little bit about 8th pole, but got on track again in a thrilling finish there. Well, you saw Queen Caroline on the racetrack. You probably went right to the windows yesterday. Yeah. She looked awesome for Nellie Mae Cox repeat yesterday afternoon for Mats.
Yeah, she didn't get away too well from the gate, though. She broke glass her next to last, but then, just kind of drug her right to the front. The other guy said, okay, we're going to take a rating hole. Jock took the initiative, went ahead and just walked the dog up front, and it was over. Arm wire kind of hampered by that slower pace. Had to work through a little bit of traffic leaving the far turn. She's a good one in the making, too, for Delacour.
In the Jamila Stakes yesterday, it was all smiles in the winner's circle from Katie Davis and 30 to 40, maybe 50 owners. A big throng there for the winner's circle partners, and Daylight ahead getting the victory.
Talked about her, a month or two ago on the show and looking at her progress that she's made, the improvement since coming back, and thought, hey, she was going to be a stakes type of horse. There you go. She got it done. A lovable lady loomed large, just couldn't get by. But Daylight ahead, she's got a little bright future sprinting on the turf.
And track photographer Jimmy McHugh also smiling yesterday with lots of win pictures ordered, I'm sure. We're always good to see partnerships win in the game. 'Tis our time in the White Oak Stakes, kind of an upset there.
That was right to the front, kind of drugged a rider, dictated along the inside, and Rapid Rhythm. That was the Rapid Rhythm race, right? She never got on track.
There may have been an excuse there because had a bridle problem and adjustment in the paddock and remained in the paddock for a long time. Did Rapid Rhythm, finally came out on the track as a big favorite but failed to fire. So maybe draw a line through that race for Rapid Rhythm due to circumstances prior to the race. Horses maybe didn't get a chance to mingle around, warm up a little bit, and get in the action of things before the race. Just didn't fire. Right. And what about the traffic-ridden Tyson Gilpin? But do what I say, finally steering clear of traffic. Owner breeder Larry Johnson has a I don't know, I think he told me 100-plus horses.
Wow.
Between in training and breeding and babies and horses coming up. Do what I say, getting the money there, help pay the bills.
Yeah, traffic early, navigated it a trip late, and really finished up well to get up. That was one of those sneaky horses we talked about on the show as well for a price shot. Yeah, and also was it Robbie Bell's horse led a long way, got the lead, I should say, just weakened a little bit late. At a price, but no, do what I say. And a little bit of a surprise.
The Mr. Diz Stakes, I thought, was kind of really the race of the day. Ben's Cat did not fire. Of course, he finished, I think, 9th in the field of 11 there. But the other Maryland-bred champion, Flash Phelps Turf champion, comes back after a layoff, sprints for the first time in a long time, and he was wound up like a clock in the stretch to close far, far outside there, holding off. And good to see Talk Show Man run big. Good race from English Minister as well, but the Mr. Diz to Flash Phelps there for Hillwood Stable, Mazzell and Charles and Rodney Jenkins, and they went 108 and change. I think if this race had been run last week, it might have been a near-course record.
No
the course playing a little bit, well, last week very firm, and we had some rain during the week's turf is still firm, no doubt. But last week, the times were a little bit faster on the grass course. So it's still very respectable on a distance we don't run a lot here, 6 on the grass.
No, we don't. And you'd seen the work pattern. He was set up and ready to roll. A little bit of a, trouble out of the gate. He had to steady just ever so slightly, but he was able to kind of get that position into the turn once he swung out 6 wide. A good late surge to get up. Some horses, go back and watch that rerun. A couple horses down towards the inside didn't have the cleanest of trips that last eighth of a mile.
That's a recap of our 6 stakes yesterday here at Laurel Park today. Keith mentioned a Sunday brunch in the Garden Terrace going on here, opening in a few minutes till 4 p.m., $22 per person. Extra $18 get you a bottomless pour, mimosas, and Martini Rossi Bloody Marys. And that sometimes helps your handicapping skills.
Absolutely.
If you're like me, after about the third one, you see the pick 5 a little more clearly. American Challenge here for our premier players. The All-American Challenge coming up after the 4th of July on Saturday, July 8th. For premier players, check that out at the guest services booth. We got a pot of $500, but as we get more players, it will increase. And in our Laurel Park Crab Feast at the end of July, start thinking summertime crabs, nice party on the grandstand apron too. It's more than just crabs. We've got the chicken and pulled pork and well, you name it. List very long here. Our chefs thinking of more things as the days go along for our crab feast.
Yes.
Get your tickets now. Go to laurelpark.com. Well, Keith, great weather today.
Perfect.
I mean, really, for nearing 4th of July, less humid than yesterday. There's the turf course soaking up the sun, firm on the grass on the Fort Marcy today, rail 87, and all along. You see the far right there with the rail at the true 0 setting. So those are the 2 turf courses we'll use today with that rail at 87 feet for the Fort Marcy and the 0 for the all along, and, of course, fast on the main track. High today, 83 degrees, much lower humidity. Very pleasant here for Sunday and the next few days here in Maryland.
Really, really nice. I'd be remiss. Got to mention a couple other horses from yesterday's card. How about Never Gone South?
Right.
I kind of knocked him a little bit on the show, kind of an angle I don't usually like, and the way they handled him with the dirt to the turf. But back to it, the blinkers went on. Boy, did he look really good. Took the measure of a speed horse, put him away, no problem. An expedited vision for Phil Schoenthal.
Yeah, Never Gone South with the blinkers on. One of 2 wins there for the combo trainer Kyle Lynch and Sheldon Russell. I think Cal's in Ireland. I saw someone.
But just the boys kind of holding down the fort.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah, well, that the big family holding down the fort too. Here's our carryovers for today. Well, yesterday a nice ticket in the pick 6. 20-cent pick 6 paid $17,810. Start with a clean slate today. With the late pick 5, it was a puzzler to the handicapper, so $10,000 plus in late pick 5 carryover on the final 5 races. That early pick 5 is a mandatory payout, and of course the rolling super high 5s in races with 7 or more wagering interest. Got plenty of those today with some fairly sizable fields here for the Sunday afternoon. And I hope you've got some ideas for that late pick 5, do you?
I do. I've got a little $36 ticket mapped out. Might have to go a little bit deeper, maybe add a couple of my other picks if you can afford to get some friends together. It's not an easy sequence, but it's doable, no doubt.
Okay, let's get right to the action. First race at 7 furlongs, field of 8 going to post. No scratches in there. Keith, what's wagered to go in the waiver maiden claiming?
Yeah, this was a tough race to line, a little tough race to handicap. I like Earned It, though. It gets the Lasix on, comes back off of that yielding turf course. We've got video, guys, from this May 11th race. Might be a little bit tough to see. Sloppy sealed surface. We're going to pick up Earned It. It was really kind of sent hard from the gate. Took pressure from both sides almost every step of the way. This horse entering the quarter pole looks like he's completely engulfed, and he's going to back out of it. It was his first try, in a while going a route of ground, but he just stays on. Good reasoning, is going to come up and get the best of it. That was a motion horse, I think, transferring to the main track for the first time. At the third place finisher, who he outfinishes, shortlisted, run a 76 buyer prior on the dirt. Look at this horse in the shadow roll, just not giving up at all. That last eighth of a mile, really tenacious. I didn't understand the move to the turf last time out, but we're transitioning back. New barn goes for Schoenthal. The Lasix goes on. Not a lot of speed in here. I think we're going to see more speed today from the 3 spot on Fark. That horse didn't run at all last time out in the maiden special weight. I think he sets the pace. Earned It. He showed potential at 2, Dave. You see him running well against the likes of boys from Boston Parade of Nations, who's like a 5 or 6 time winner. This horse is poised for a big effort today.
Yeah, his first time Lasix, that move at the 2 turns on the slop there. You question when you see Parade of Nations there whether he's really going to be able to get the 2 turns, and this cutback's going to certainly help him. It appears there. Super Buddy, your second pick goes to Ferris Allen's barn. It's the same owner, so same owner, just moved to a new barn here in Maryland.
Maybe not quite showing the potential. Maybe doesn't think he can handle the heavy heads, but he's a Maryland bred. He's right where he belongs. Maybe take advantage of the program here. Looking at the breeding, too, as well. I think this horse wants to sprint. Cosmo's Buddy was a sprinter around here, primarily on the grass. So debut, a good running debut back in January. You see Patch in the running line, just chased a trio of duelers there, just couldn't quite fire on. This horse should be forward quite a long way.
Yeah, spot on. Fark's fast enough maybe to make the lead in here on a fast track today. He just didn't fire on the gooey going in the muddy strip last time out while out running, racing off the inside. I think you really got to consider him a second-time starter here this afternoon.
Completely tossed in the last race, Dave. Right, the maiden 40 prior to that was good enough. Happy Farm has come back. Clubman was down inside. He carries it much better. I think you're going to see a different animal today.
Our first turf venture of the afternoon, the Fort Marcy turf course with a rail at 87 feet at 5.5 furlongs to the second finish line. No scratches in the second of the day. And which way did you go on this little turf sprint for a group of maiden 25s down to 20?
Yeah, it's turf sprint, some speed types, no doubt abound in here. Brenda Bella, Jax, Royal Brown from the inside, even Ghost Affair, I expect some more speed. Joan Reynolds put the blinkers on this horse last time on the dirt at Charlestown, opened up and couldn't hold on. I think it's just going to set up beautifully for the 9-horse 12 Tricks. Shortening back up, a little freshening back to the right level here for 25. She's going to be tough. You look two-back race. Sister Says, who came back and ran a good closing second in the stakes yesterday. Rhythm and Rap, a winner. She comes out of the key races. She's going to like this relief moving down just a peg. She'll run in and grab the speed types. I think somewhere by mid-stretch.
Yeah, key race is a good point there because does come out of a race there last out April 30th. I know she hasn't been out since late April, but 3 winners out of her last race. And Ann Merriman Barn maybe having a key week too with a winner yesterday. And Willie B. Mine, that was quite an impressive. Maybe the best thing that happened is Willie B. Mine didn't break that sharply. Then got up
a little target.
Had a target, didn't use up a lot of energy early and went on with it there. So the barn already with a win this week. 12 Tricks there, Keith's top pick. You've got the 5 Christmas dinner in here coming back to the turf after a couple of excuses on races run on the main track and transferred to the dirt there on sloppy going.
Yeah, same kind of running style. She just really doesn't have any speed whatsoever on the turf course, but with the abundance of speed in front of her in this race, I think she's just going to slug up and grab a piece. Brenda Bella's interesting, going first time for Kieran, a little bit of a raise off the claim. I think he's got another one later in the day, raising slightly off the claim on the turf. DK's Valentine has had a really tough trips the last 2. Could make an impact as well. I think the speeds just kind of kill each other in here. In 12 Tricks, it's her race to lose.
Yeah, perhaps DK's Valentine can pick up some pieces. There's some speed to the inside with Royal Brown. Good opening quarter last time out on the rail 87 feet. June 9th turf at 5.5. Same turf course at 22 and change there. 22 flat and 22.10 when you really break down the fractional times, if that's going to mean anything to anybody there. So she's got early zip from that inside gate.
I don't know if she quite wants to go with Jax if she can, but she has shown even the 3-back race, she came from just off of it. She's going to get a good trip. It's just that last little bit is the question mark. I think 12 Tricks and possibly Mary's Horse Christmas Dinner have a little bit more late.
Race 3 of 10 on the Sunday program with no scratches in the third race. We've seen these fillies and Marys before. Sometimes a bit of a puzzle to figure out, but they're sprinting. Could that be the key for any one of them getting the winner's circle today?
Another one. It's a tricky one.
Yeah, this is a very tricky race, isn't
I was
it?
trying to line up. I was like, where do I go? Where do I start?
Notice how I said that politely. It's a tricky. I'm saying it's a very tricky race. Yes.
Whether you're not, she's got decent speed going long. She hasn't sprinted in a while. She has one main target, Magic Cookie, but Magic Cookie's pretty quick in her own right. I think whether or not she's going to make a move into her, I don't know if she's going to sustain. I think Brooks on Fire sits a great trip. Scarlett's Ransom went ahead and dictated last time out. She made a little bit of headway before flattening late. The 6 furlongs is just fine. Third time for Billy Campbell off the claim. He's 23% with dirt sprints less than $10,000 claiming level over the last couple years. I think she's going to sit a really good trip and gets a hot rider in Sheldon Russell. A little circling move. We'll get it done.
Brooks on Fire, good third, good second last time out. You mentioned Scarlett's Ransom. That's a 3-time winner she is at Laurel. So a decent filly for this level that she faced last time out. Yeah, Magic Cookie may be the speed of the speed there from the inside. Don't let that last race fool you. We're beaten 15 lengths by Miss Swisher. There was a good duel going up front. But against this group, she just might have the early lick to get away. The Cookie may not crumble this afternoon. Might be all the way today for Karamanis from that rail. well. We don't have 2 dirt races before the 3rd. We do have 1. We'll see how maybe get a little bit of a line on whether the insider speed's okay.
Don't think she's going to have to go 45-4 to clear this bunch either, Dave. She was used kind of hard to get there and get it done. A good try. 2 back at the same level for the 3 in life. Lock up the Bourbon. I'm going to use her as well. I think she's going to sneak away at an okay price. You get Stevie Hamilton. This horse, turf to dirt is actually a profitable move for the barn. She's going to sit a good trip. I think she's just got enough stamina built into her now off of those 2 route races. She's going to make a more impactful run.
Yeah, winless this year, but with the right ride at the right time against the right group, she's certainly worth a price play in there. Lock up the Bourbon. Let's go to race 4 today as the pick 6 is rapidly approaching today. The 5th race starts our pick 6, and then we got a late pick 5 with a nice carryover. Our 4th of the afternoon back to the turf course, this time with the rail at the True Zero, all along turf course, scratch 1A. No more excuses. Take out the 2 Lisa's Secret. Ideas?
Well, I mean, the 2 proven turf horses, the real proven turf horse sprinting is Persnickety, and she comes back to a race in a field that she should just really love. You get a little bit higher price on Dukas. That's kind of why I'm taking her on top. The barn doing well, first time off the claim for Schoenthal. These 2 met on May the 4th over this turf course. Persnickety got the better of Dukas, but Dukas found herself way, way far back. I don't know exactly what happened there early. She was taken extremely wide. She's got a little bit more tactical speed, Dave, and I think she's going to show it in this race. Great targets to run that out front. Really hard for me to separate either one. Persnickety 4 for 22 at the distance. Had trouble the last time she ran on the turf 2 races back at Parks. One of these 2, I could see. I don't really see a major threat to them. Maybe Sir Royal. I don't know if she's quite as good as the 6 or the 8. Sippy Cup, another frock horse. She has one big blow-up number on this turf course, albeit it was on a good going, I believe, back in October. But she's got a little shot in here. Improved dirt figures might be hinting that she's in the best form of her life right now.
Yeah, Sippy Cup's only win in this turf was a 37-1 upset there, as you mentioned, on the good going. I think it was the gate to wire score. Yeah. Dukas, she's a mare that's kind of interested me all along when she's run here in Maryland. It looks like maybe they were trying to figure her out, and I think maybe the idea off the claim is to get her come from off the pace and shake her up a little bit. She's been on the lead and faltered, but come from off the pace at points, mostly going routes. But coming back to the sprint here, maybe a few changes here for the new barn for Phil Schoenthal. We'll see. That's your top pick.
I'd like a little bit more life in the morning. That Bullet workout June 14th, 48 and 3. Where they're smaller group working at that distance, but I think you're gonna see a little bit more tactical speed out of Dukas is what she showed on May the 4th. But it's Persnickety, her So Royal. She fits, no doubt about it. Once again, I question her. I might like her a little bit better at 5 than 5.5.
Brief break, and then we'll come back with the 20-cent pick 6. It was hit yesterday for a big $17,810 for the 20-cent wager. We got a pick 5 carryover for the late pick 5. Keith, you've got a ticket. We'll get to that in just a few moments after a brief break on the Sunday Today at the Races show. Welcome back to the Sunday edition of Today at the Races. Fast and firm, the conditions, 10 races on the program. Dave Rodman with Keith Fustel again as we get into the Pick 6 this afternoon and a nice Pick 5 carryover with Keith's ticket on the way. But to start the Pick 6, a field of 6 at a mile and a 16th, and some sprinters here, Keith, stretching out in the allowance race. The question is, can Miss Swisher swoosh on the big move like she's done a couple of times before and swish her tail up the field like she did last time out, going from 6 furlongs to a mile and a 16th. She's sprinted for, well, seemingly forever. Right? Hasn't been along a route since March at Aqueduct last year.
Maybe they can fool her one time.
Okay.
You know, Maldonado reached in off Kieran. It's, you know, it's a tricky thing to do and try to get this filly to improve, but she is a 3-time winner. She knows how to win. I think she can just draft in, you know, around this first turn, shorter field, get really good position, because I think she's going to have targets with Joyful Noise and Miss Nosy. Miss Nosy absolutely freaked last time on the Muddy Sealed Surface. First time for trainer Kieran McGee. You see the buyer good 66. Internal fractions were just wicked, and she never let up. Joyful Noise is going to keep her occupied. Miss Nosy maybe doesn't necessarily need to lead, but she might be softened just a bit, and will she come back off of that race? I think Miss Swisher, she's going to maybe make the pop move, leaving the far turn on the leaders, but she's going to have to hold off Barino, throw a line off of Barino's last race. She's got the better of Miss Nosy before. I don't know what happened at Pimlico. She broke a little sluggish. Just didn't absolutely run a step at all, but she likes Laurel. Maybe the ship, she got herself disheveled. She'll make a good, steady progress, good run with Sheldon. I think it's one of these two, 1, 2, 4.
Yeah, more recent route experience going Barino's way, but you've got to throw out the race at Pimlico, I would think. I mean, after that drubbing by 30-plus lengths, perhaps she didn't like Pimlico. She seems happiest here at Laurel Park. Trains here for Cal Lynch. I mean, so dull, you would think that maybe if there's really something wrong with her, they drop her in for a little bit of a price. No, she's back here in allowance company this afternoon over a track where she's won a couple of races for sure.
Oh, yeah. She's worked well. You see the bullet work on June the 1st. It looks like she's recovered from whatever happened to her at Pimlico, and she's ready to go, and I'm sure she'll fire a good shot. It's a tough little field, though. You've got a question mark with Aiden's Ragdoll. You know, half to a 5-time dirt route winner. She's been a little bit unlucky, to say the least. She's second off a little bit of a break. She could certainly stretch out. I'm sure the mare Silent Stream was 2 for 4 going long. Clairvoyant didn't really run that bad when hung wide. Is shorter field. She'll be able to draft over and save some ground. Short field, but a competitive field for race 5.
And blinkers going on. Aiden's Ragdoll, who's got that raw pedigree, as you mentioned. We did see the blinkers on wake up trick yesterday afternoon with the Cal Lynch runner.
Never Gone South.
Yeah, Never Gone South. For a second, I forgot the name of the horse. But Sheldon had a couple of calls in here. Aiden's Ragdoll, Barino, and he went to Cal's barn, which is, you know, probably normal, right? You would expect that. Rides a lot for Cal. So Cal Romanos on Aiden's Ragdoll this afternoon. Okay, let's get to your Pick 5 today. The late Pick 5 with a carryover more than $10,000, $10,599. Keith has a very reasonable ticket for you.
Yeah,
only $36. So
only $36. We'll try to lighten the load a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, 569 to get it started. Kara's Nene riding a win streak, but we haven't seen her in quite some time. She showed a real affinity for the Laurel Turf Course back in the fall. Can she bring that form back here into the summer? Too deep in race 7. I think the road goes through the 1 Stay Home for Kieran McGee, or the 4 Brighton Lane. Then we're going to go to race 8. Too deep in there as well. I like Mr. Benz. A little short return up back in like 6 or 7 days for Schoenthal after a troubled trip first off the claim. Silver Romeo, he's been chasing some good horses. Catches the right kind of field. He's going to be a major presence in race 8. Race 9. You know, Lucky Malibu, I think, is your price shot of the day to really kind of rebound this. She's back to a track that she likes. She's been a little bit unlucky. Maybe the luck, you know, she gets a little lucky today. Dave gets a better trip. We've got a shipper coming in, the 9-horse Troublesome. Should pose a major danger to the rest of the field. 3 deep in race number 10. Boy, I'd like to go deeper in the last. This is a real head-scratcher of a race. 129 to get it finished up. Hopefully, you can be alive to that. $36 ticket.
For a ticket without a single, very reasonable. $36 for our late Pick 5, 50-cent wager, and it's a rock bottom industry low, 12% takeout. Let's get to that first leg and look at it a little more deeply in deep fashion here. A mile and an eighth in the 6th race.
Right.
The rail at 87 feet. Is that a situation where one mare may prefer that 9 furlongs here?
Well,
looking at Kara's Nene. You know, she's tried it once, finished second, but 3 for 3 here at Laurel.
Yeah.
Perhaps vulnerable because of that.
That's my only question mark. The mile and an eighth, layoffs don't, as I've talked about before, they don't really bother me a whole lot for the turf runners. They seem to maintain their fitness a little bit better. Loves the track, doesn't mind being wide. But flight pattern, she runs into a horse that's really in good form right now, and I think that's the factor. I think flight pattern, just recency, couple races under her belt, a couple wins under her belt. I think she's going to go a little bit better that last 8th, 16th of a mile, Dave. Flight Pattern's had a perfect trip. Loose leader. They were going terribly fast, and she just made a nice, confident move. You see the comment, 4 wide, cruised up, driving. Prado at any point he wanted to go. He had some threats from the back of the pack once they left at 3:16, so she had plenty left in the tank. She's just a true pro. Both her and Karis Nene, they love winning. 6 wins for Flight Pattern on the turf, 7 for Karis Nene. These two are the horses to beat, no doubt about it.
Match up with that layoff horse off the sharp horse with a win here in Maryland in Flight Pattern in the 6th race of the day.
Yep.
And the 8 is Seeing and Believing there with Richard Sullivan's barn, winning way stable, 3rd off the Claim the Charm. Beaten favorite, though, behind Flight Pattern.
Yeah, you go back and watch that race at Pimlico on May 20th. McCarthy took a little bit of a rating hold and had a little bit of traffic. Kind of had just this kind of wait in between horses nearing the far turn. And that's when Flight Pattern really got things ramped up and just kind of swooshed on by. Seeing Believing tried to pick up the pace, couldn't quite do it. But looking at the race, Dave, she could be the speed of the speed. I expect her to be sent out and try to dictate things on the front end. I think she could carry this field quite a while, but I don't know if she's going to be able to hold off the 9 or the 6. Schiffer Magician had just a horrific trip, going for a good barn right now. She's moving in the right direction. She doesn't have to move up much. She gets a little bit further off the pace, but mile and 8, she should like it. I don't see any problem for her.
Yeah, tough trip for Schiffer at Magician last time out. I've seen her run a few times before, and because she's a closer, she's got to maneuver through traffic, and oftentimes does get into some traffic woes, compromising her chances. But maybe with a clean trip this afternoon, she can pounce at a price.
Yeah, this could be one of those fields where they're kind of really bottled up. Leaving the 3/8 to the quarter pole, and somebody's got to navigate a trip because there's not a lot of speed. There's not a lot of separation between these horses when you kind of break down the 1/2 and 3/4 mile times that they're used to running. Should be a tight group, but Flight Pattern, I think, might have the best charge late.
All right, race 7 at 6 furlongs. Got the entry from the Kieran McGee barn here. Going to be probably favored as you got them at 2-1. Stay Home and Feel Proud. Both of these runners with some really nice credentials. The Kenny Decker barn shipped in to Laurel here into Maryland, based here in Maryland at Laurel Park. It seems like they run 2 or 3 horses a day. He's got a bunch of horses for Jack's or Better Farm. And kudos really to a guy who comes into kind of unfamiliar territory, trying to get his horses spotted in the right place. If you've been here a while, you know who you're running against. It's tough to get them spotted just correctly. And maybe Brighton Lane's in a good spot today, right off the Delta Downs form in one race at Laurel, beating only 4 lengths to Danny My Boy, but shortening up to a sprint this afternoon.
I like the similar pattern. Kenny Decker, Forest Boy's horse the other day. I'm coming back to this horse. Brighton Lane, freshened up since that April 9th race at Laurel. Danny My Boy, Nicoradillic Rocks, Connemara Coast. They're not those kind of horses in this race, Dave. I mean, there were multiple winners. I think Danny My Boy's run 7 or 8, Connemara Coast, Nicoradillic Rocks. A good field. Freshening, enough speed. Bay Belt, quick. Legal Precedent, quick. Even River City Rambler might show a little speed. I think Brighton Lane with Forrest will have this horse somewhere mid-pack and make a good substantial run. 1 for 16, but rack in the right condition out of those 2 tougher optional allowance, first-level allowance races. Stay Home, though. We've seen Kieran. He's not scared of anything. Linda Rice brought this horse in, dropped him in for 16. Everybody's like, well, what's going on? What's going on? Horse a little bit erratic, off slow, 7 wide, lugging in. Kieran said, I'm not scared. Horse to second race off the claim. A really nice run at Pimlico into a pretty hot horse right now. Victory Chimes. I know he didn't run as well the other day, but still Stay Home. Major danger. 3rd off the claim for Kieran.
Yeah, Victory Chimes in the running lines. He was second to Marty with a party just the other day. So a claim from Linda Rice into the Kieran McGee barn there. Part of the entry with Feel Proud. Legal Precedent beaten by Stay Home after prompting pace last time out. Trombetta barn, maybe kind of another speed play today.
Yep, I think so. You're looking at it. I know Bay Bill to the inside, but I think Legal Precedent can kind of sit off a Bay Belt and make a move. He came down a little bit, I thought. I know numbers-wise, not maybe performance-wise, off of the May 12th race. He ran really, really hard against Liberty Lane, who was the next out winner. I'll forgive the last. I think he sits just outside. He does get the point, I believe, get the lead at some point in this race. Probably takes him into the lane. Can he hold off Bright Lane or stay home is going to be the major question.
And under the category of it makes me wonder, where's the speed for In Arrears gone? The last few starts in the Cal Lynch barn. Maybe they're just trying to get him to relax a little more. There may be a different game plan here today to try to go to the front if he's got any of his earlies. If he used to be pretty fast.
Used to be pretty fast, was real keen and eager to go. The blinkers went back on 2 starts ago, and I was wondering, well, why were the blinkers going back on? I mean, he ran okay, rated back, made a move behind Liar's Dice, a really good horse for Damon. Dancing with Malta Trouble Trip, called very wide. Scratched out of a much tougher race, Dave, to go here. This is the right spot for the 7 In Arrears. If he's going to get back on track, this is the right race to do it, not the one the other day.
Back out to the 8th on the turf. It's a mile and a 16th. Rail 87 feet and no scratches in the 8th on the program. A troubled trip for Mr. Benz the last time out. Right off the claim into Phil Schoenthal's barn. Beaten a length and change to No Knock Raid as the favorite. You've got Took Up there. That's a line that you often don't put in the comments, so it had to be pretty severe.
It was pretty severe, no doubt about it. He was kind of caught up between horses heading towards the turn, and then all hell break loose as we see in some of these turf races going into the far turn. And what I liked, he got to the outside and closed up nicely the last 1/8 of a mile. This is the right distance, a mile and a 16th. He's 2 for 3 at the distance. He comes back, to a little of a field that you see him jumping up 16 to 25. This isn't really a big jump up in class for Mr. Benz. They're wheeling him right back. They're thinking he's in decent form. I know he doesn't have a ton of speed, but off that sprint should put him a little bit closer. I expect a good run. He's a little bit of a better price. He might come down a touch off the morning line. Maybe a little bit better price than Silver Romeo, who's trying really hard, but in other ways, a little bit unlucky, Dave.
Silver Romeo's run against one of his rivals here, Immunity. You've got in the mix, too, for the Trombetta barn. Has beaten up a couple of times, actually, but the Hugh McMahon barn again. Well, that stakes win yesterday in the Jamila Sprinting.
Yeah. Silver Romeo is gonna sit a great trip, I believe, with Baltic Art. Midnight Dance is pretty quick in his own right. Midnight Dance might be the speed, actually, shipping in from Penn National. Silver Romeo makes first run. He does get the lead. He's going to have some horses breathing down his neck the final 1/8 of a mile, in the likes of probably Mr. Benz and Immunity.
Did you have Giles Fair in your pick?
I do. I've got him in the
mix. In your pick 5 ticket?
I did not.
Okay.
I would not leave him out, though. I mean, if you can afford to throw him in, he's your price shot. I've got him 20 to 1 online. He might come down a little bit, but he ran pretty well 2 races back behind Silver Romeo, and I did not like how he was closer to the pace last time out.
He made a couple of decent moves last time out, or 2 races back against Highly Prized. I thought a very, very good race. Zinger out of that race pops up with a big 86 buyer for a next out win as well. And interesting that Sheldon Russell had a couple of calls in here. Goes to Giles Fair. So at a big price. Again, he's not on Keith's pick 5 ticket, but his is a $36 ticket. Wouldn't cost much after a couple of mimosas and Bloody Marys at the buffet to convince a friend to
and do a late pick 4 ticket with him, or a pick 3, right? He's going to hold a lot of value. And like you say, maybe the race last time they looked at it on paper and said it might have forced the hand a little bit too soon and made a move. And sometimes that's not the fault. They just try it. It just didn't work. So let's go back and try a different tactic today with Giles Fair. So, Midnight Dance is going to zip out pretty good. It'd be interesting, Baltic Art, what kind of speed he really has. He called a yielding surface last time and was able to walk the dog against Lesser. I think he's in against much tougher today.
Yeah, no, if he can walk the dog again, but it'll be a tough task today. 9th race, scratch 3 and 4 with 2 more to go on the Sunday program at 6 furlongs in here. So we're down to a field of 7, but still have a super high 5 wager. And on the far outside, we find Brendan Walsh coming to town with Troublesome.
And what, Multiplier? Was that right? Preakness?
Right, correct.
Yeah.
Right. Churchill Downs win. Not an impressive buyer figure of 66. Will that form transfer here to Maryland?
I think it will, Dave. This horse was well meant back in the fall at Churchill. Ran against some good horses. Some horses come out of there and have gone on to run well and be competitive in allowance races. I think they're doing the right thing. Overcame trouble last time out, got the job done. Second place finisher actually won yesterday. A couple other horses have come back to run in the 70s. I think that's a good enough fig to kind of indicate this horse is ready to go. He's run against the right kind of. Maybe you see 66, and the right move again. She's a Maryland bred. Come here. Maybe she's not going to be able to kind of get that first level allowance, but come here against this kind of field. I think she'll get a good stalking trip again, and I think she'll move forward. She appears to be a well-meant filly.
Ascertain beat Lucky in Malibu at Pimlico last time out, but she comes back to really kind of her favorite track here. And I know she looked like she wasn't going to finish anywhere at the top of the stretch, Lucky in Malibu. She got going a little bit late, so a bit of a deceptive fourth-place finish there and coming back to a track where she can close. She really likes this track.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the whole key. A win, 2 seconds and a third at Laurel. The distance is right. Can she avoid that early trouble? That's been our downfall for a lot of these races. I mean, but she comes back to the wide country, the Marshall, any one of those two races. She's a major, major player in here. You've got Happy Ascending, a good effort up at Parks is probably the main speed. I think she's going to get a little pressure to her inside from This Song Is About You for Trombetta. But Lucky Malibu is probably your best price play in here if you're going to use her top and bottom and around in the exactas, the tries, maybe the supers. Sazerac Girl, she's just as steady as she comes.
Yeah, she was a 13-1 against Phantom Shot and Lucky Malibu at Pimlico in that race won by Ascertain. A very big wake-up for her coming back to the main track, and she's only got one win here at Laurel, but 4 seconds. So kind of an in the exacta kind of horse. She finished best of the entire field in that last furlong, did Sazerac Girl, including Lucky and Malibu last time out.
Yeah.
All right. Any other ideas in there? Happiest ending?
Well, yeah, like you say.
I mean, I just
think I don't know if that's a little bit of an inflated number. When I really looked and I compared internals for a couple of the other races there, they were okay. The 22, 2, 45, 3 was just all right, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I got to question that a little bit.
Yeah, but, will she be able to prompt the Churchill filly, the Keeneland trained filly?
Well, like I said, I think that the troublesome's going to be outside stalking. This Song Is About You was pretty quick in her own right.
She's out. She's out.
She is out.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that was a late scratch.
That was a late scratch.
I missed it then. Sorry, Dave.
Okay.
Well, there you go. Then
All
she could be loose on the lead because I think she's clearly faster than the one to her inside. So that changes things a little bit. And if you look back in the Maryland Juvenile Filly Championship during the winter, where was she? She was inside a pair of horses dueling. She could get a little brave now. That changes the complexion of the race definitely with the 4 out. My bad.
That was just was a late one. Okay, the 10th race and no changes in the 10th, 5.5 on the grass there, 87 feet, and I know a horse you'll be playing today.
You do?
Yep, Rosetta Red.
Rosetta Red.
Yeah, you'll be.
I was crying, throwing programs after that race on June the 9th at 13-1. I really thought this filly was going to run a big one. She did. She just was got in a little trouble. We got the video, I believe, from June the 9th on that turf race, going 5.5 furlongs, and she drafted back, didn't break terrible, and you're going to pick her up. That's at mid-turn, guys, in the green silks, coming up the inside. We can roll. That's great, and just makes kind of a menacing move, a little bit of a contested pace up front. Sheldon eases her out off the rail, and I'm thinking, okay, we got it from here. We got it, Dave. 13-1, $28 mutual. Now, just kind of doesn't accelerate as quickly as I thought, and then a little bit of a steady shifts out, and I'm thinking, okay, I just maybe took a little bit out of her upper stretch, and she just couldn't kind of make up the ground late. She gets going really well the last 50 yards. Can't catch Marie from Paris Egber, who we're going to see in here. I think she moves up again. Tough field to navigate through. You're going to have a target. The 8-horse, 5 smooth zones is going to go ahead and go out and set an honest pace. Egber's going to be close. Rosetta Red, a good trip. Conjecture is going to be my top selection. I liked her as well last time. She goes first off the claim for Dale Capuano. Got some good turf breeding. Second dam actually won long, and she had a horror trip when checked in tight along the rail into the far turn. She's going to track the speed, get the lead. Can she hold off the 1? And the 2-horse, Craig's interesting. First time for Kieran. Another one, a slight move up off the claim. I think sprinting is her game. I think the route, she didn't want any part of that off the layoff. last time. She's going to make, I think, a more respectable run from off of it.
Conjecture's debut run, your top pick. I mean, it
Yeah.
was a really solid effort. She broke, I mean, just kind of like stood there in the gate for a moment, hopped at the start, was your comment there. Just broke really tight. And then engaged a very, very fast opening quarter, 22 and 3, and didn't really give up until just before the 8th pole, maybe there. So that, I think, was the reason they went in for the money there. The claimed for 25,000 last time out, though she didn't fire on the turf, as you mentioned. Though she's a great notion, maybe she should have run a little bit better. But
yeah, she had that trouble day. She had the rail position. She was trying to go up inside to join the fray. Had to check. She bounced off the rail. What I like is she didn't lose a ton of ground from there. Just a little fade, a few lengths. A clean break will put her right up, I think, in a good prompting position. Will she be able to carry it through the stretch? I'm not sure. Rescue Cat, another one, the 7. Who just kept on real game after a horror trip last time out.
I sense a $20 exacta box coming in the finale for Keith in there with the 1991.
We've got $2 left to get to the last.
Oh, you will, and you'll be alive in the pick 5 as well. All right, that's it for today at the races for the Sunday edition, and have a great day here at Laurel Park. Fast and firm. Enjoy the Sunday brunch in the Garden Terrace. Thanks, Keith.
All right, you got it, Dave. Good luck.